Hey everyone, and welcome to Television from the Multiverse, the DC TV podcast from Male Fuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Connor.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, we talk about DC TV shows. Coming up on this week's show, we are talking about Supergirl, the penultimate episode. This is not deja vu, we were just incorrect that there was 20... Now, to be fair, if you go back to last week's episode when we were talking about Supergirl, it was a very lengthy discussion. At one point in that discussion, we actually went to IMDb to check the title of the next episode, and I referred to it as the finale because at the time of recording, it was still the last episode on IMDb.
Yeah, I don't know where this extra episode snuck up from.
So clearly, we weren't the only ones assuming that this was only 22 episodes, like the last season, you know, on CW. It wasn't like this was just... I mean, you could maybe argue that if it had just moved from CBS to CW, that it's a bit more unknown. But no, we had 22 episodes last season. So it made sense. But hey, so we have one more next week. The finale's next week. This was episode 22 this week. We also have, because the off-season content, we're doing an episode of Lois and Clark, episode of Smallville, and we get an episode of Young Justice season 2. So that is what's coming up on the show this week. We do have a couple of bits of news. Actually, we got some series regular bumps for next season. 2 on Flash, 1 on Supergirl. On Flash, District Attorney Cecile Horton, to say her full proper title as Harry would, is now a series regular, as is Ralph Dibny. For all our faults with last season of Flash, neither of them are really... I mean, sure, the plot with Ralph was a fault in the second half of the season, but it wasn't him himself that was the fault.
Yeah, he is a fine addition to the cast overall.
Yes, same with Cecile, who's been around for a couple of seasons now, and will now officially be a regular. So now that's really expanded its cast since the early days. And then on Supergirl, Brainiac 5, an exciting and surprising series regular bump because, well, he's left. Like, at least right now. I mean, he may pop back in the finale. I'm half expecting it now.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're just... Maybe he won't, and they'll just bring him back next season. He comes back for whatever reason.
Either way, I'm happy. I like him. He's got good chemistry. He's got a nice, witty kind of disposition about him. He's got good chemistry with Kara. So, wherever we go with this, I don't care. But it's nice to have him around. So
yeah, no, definitely.
So there you go. That was the news. Also, there was a little bit of, shall we say, mild outrage on the interwebs this week. Stephen Amell was talking about Arrow, of course, and he was talking about how proud he was that the characters that they had created for the show, such as Felicity, Diggle, and Sarah, will now be staples of Green Arrow mythology, and will be, in 50 years, you won't be able to talk about Green Arrow without talking about those characters.
Did you see the T-shirt he was wearing?
I did not see the T-shirt he was wearing. What was the T-shirt he was wearing?
It was a Smoke Technologies T-shirt.
Oh God!
It's yeah. And he put the caption, being aspirational about season 7. I don't know if he's trolling or not.
I don't even... It's just this thing, right? Don't get me wrong. A lot of the reactions to this were immature, and, because, people online can be dicks, right? But let's just say, I'm sure we both highly disagree with his statement.
Some of it. I think Diggle, as an addition, lasted in the comics and made an impact enough that... Yeah, okay, he's already been revisited by a few different writers now. Probably going to stick around.
He'll probably stick around. They've not sold me that he's important yet, though. Like, he's there.
No,
he's a sort of minor character that's around, but they've not really sold me that he's a big part.
No, I agree, but he's starting to feel like his Jimmy Olsen, right?
All right, okay.
He's kind of around here or there in some stories, depending on the writer, but usually not a huge focus, or hasn't been in a long time.
I think more of Faith is his Jimmy, but
I mean, sure, but I'm just thinking in a narrative sense, not in what he plays in the role, just in how he plays in his position.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. I mean, it's the funny thing is that it sounds like Stephen Amell's always came across as a really nice guy, despite what I think of the show. He's always came across as a very nice dude who does a lot for charity, does a lot of things. But this felt a little bit egotistical, the statement that he made, especially since I think most actual Green Arrow fans look at the show and would criticise it for him, his character not actually feeling like Oliver Queen from the comics, Black Canary feeling nothing like Black Canary from the comics, their relationship feeling nothing like their relationship from the comics. Like, all of the fundamentals of what actually makes them feel like the characters is missing.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah, well, so we'll get into the shows then. We'll get into Supergirl season 3, episode 22, the penultimate episode. There is an episode 23, which is coming next week. This is called "Make It Rain." I love the title. I do love the title still.
Yeah. See, when I thought this was the title for the final episode,
it was better.
I was like, yeah, that's great. Now, what's the title for the next one?
That's a good question. Let's find out.
Because it's got to live up to this now.
Oh, it's Battles Lost in One. It's pretty generic.
Oh, that's shite. That is the epitome of, oh shit, we've got an extra episode. Quick, get an extra title.
You mean epitome?
What did I say?
Epitome?
I don't know what I said. I don't know. I'm tired. It's been a long day.
I'm just leaving that there. So we're talking about Supergirl, and of course this. Where to start here? I think this perked up a bit in the second half. I was really worried in the first half. Yeah,
me too. This is a strange episode.
Because the first half, the pacing did not feel like we're building to the finale. I mean, sure, you've got the witches, like Kryptonian witches on Earth doing their thing, but it wasn't until Alex started taking out Kryptonians single-handedly in the pair that it really perked up, and I went,
Kara, this is why you keep kryptonite around.
Yes, that's a good point, because Alex had to use it to fight.
Some kryptonite bullets.
Yeah, although I was impressed that Wynn's net thing from the gun also worked for a bit. I mean, it didn't work for long, but it was
it served its purpose, right?
Yeah, so I approve of that. Alex taking on multiple Kryptonians, getting her gun back, jumping and kicking two of them at the same time. I'm like, damn it, Alex, you're a badass. Even Ruby helped out a little bit, and obviously we lost an agent this episode.
Yeah, you knew he was dying because they spent way too much time with him.
That said, I do like that he was the guy who was fighting Wynn, and in the episode where they all went nuts with the Marin psychic stuff, that was the one he was fighting with. So at least he was established before. I appreciate that a little bit.
Yeah, he wasn't a total red shirt.
But he had a good moment. His death moment was actually it was like you knew he was going to die, but it was a nice little moment.
He was amusing enough at the start when Wynn's coming in and goes, "Hey, punch me." Okay, sure, no problem.
Yeah, his shield tech's good, just not good enough to withstand 3 heat vision blasts.
It can do 1
at the same time. Yeah, because Wynn survived the 1.
Yeah,
but can't handle 3 though. Can't handle 3.
No. I did think that was really weird. Where Wynn, he's like, "Here, have this." He just chucks it to him, and then he's like, "Better not leave that doodle lying around. That's trade secrets."
Wynn gonna win, I guess. I don't know.
I was like, you just threw the device to him,
I'll tell you what was a weird moment for me, just in sort of the way they executed something and the editing around it. See when they found the Selena's base with all of her stuff and it blew up at the end after they talked to her for a second. The explosion and the way it kind of showed that, and then it kind of faded out, and then it was just the one of them, the little woman was down, but the other 3 were fine. That was really weird to me.
That was pretty murky.
Yeah, it was like, oh, we can't show too much of this, so we're just going to do this thing as if, oh, it's okay that we don't show much. I'm like, just have an explosion come towards the camera and then cut back into the scene later. I mean, it's it's not fancy, but it works.
It does. This was just weird.
Yeah, this was very bizarre because it felt like we just zoomed out of the rock that came flying towards the camera, and everything had already settled, and there was all 3 of these people are completely fine, just the one person's hurt. It was just, I don't know. It was
no, I'm with you.
But yeah, so we had that. So they're trying to reignite Rain. They need the blood of the other 2 to get it going. So they come after the DEO, which is when things kind of pick up. We get some fun action sequences because up until that point, the pacing of Supergirl and co trying to find their way back and honestly, I could see some of this stuff playing better earlier in the season. See when they're over the comms with Wynn and there's some jokes. I actually laughed quite a bit when when the hologram first turned on and Kara was speaking through her mother's hologram, and Wynn just went,
"This is some
Alex!"
Weird AI.
Yeah. When it shouted Alex like he was shouting for his mother, and that was really funny.
It was the same shout as the Tessmacher shout.
a little bit. I think it's slightly different because it sounds like he's screaming for help as opposed to screaming because he wants a menial task done.
Sure, but it was the same inflections.
Yeah, there's the nuance there, but so some of that stuff was fun. But I was thinking during this whole section, this feels really lax for we're building up to the epic.
Yeah, this feels like Should have been like 6-8 episodes ago.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, the ending does have the world starting to fall apart. So I mean,
Yeah, to a fault almost. Of okay,
where's Superman?
yeah, just okay. Guess it's end of the season time, right?
I mean, yeah. There's no really way around that, though. Really.
Well, no, but we've done such a good job of having Rain be a over the top threat, but still manageable. Like she's Rain. Go back to I think it was the mid-season finale where she decimated Supergirl.
Yeah, it was a good fight. I like that.
It was, and okay, you sold it as a threat. So I feel like okay, we're literally just going to end of the world. Feels kind of an easy way out after that. Like we'd already built up, and then it's just, well, I guess it's the end of the season. We should probably go all out.
Yeah, I mean, I like the motivation at least a little bit in the sense that it harkens back to what Zod's plan as often is when he first gets to Earth. He wants to terraform it and turn it into Krypton, and death to all the humans and everyone else. We can rebuild on top of our ashes. I think
the problem is we haven't really built to this plot.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
This only started in the last 3 episodes.
Yeah, I mean it's the episode more than we thought that we're getting of it.
Oh, it is. But like I say, this plot with the Kryptonians being involved this directly has only been right at the end of the season.
Yeah, I wasn't super feeling Kara's mother asking about Mon-El and the romance stuff, and I was like, yeah. And Mon-El talking to Wynn and like, oh, I can't leave her behind again. I'm like, oh yes, you can, just go.
Oh no, just piss off.
So this is the thing. Hey, Cat. Cat just jumped up. You can't see him on the screen, but he just jumped up and all that.
I'm sure you appreciated the streaky reference.
I did, yes. More streaky references, always good.
And as Wynn says, everyone knows that that's the name of a pet.
You didn't trust her, which was also amusing. Even afterwards, I didn't quite. I mean, Alex was just like, "No, it's Wynn, shut up, it's her."
Yeah,
and he was like, "I don't know, I'm just giving her the eye. Something fishy here."
Good. Someone should be distrustful when a random thing shows up in your office.
Yeah, it's just that's something like, I don't know. What did the Flash give us all to prove he had super speed? There you go. Simple little question.
Yeah. I don't think he was unreasonable in going, we should test her.
Yeah.
Alex is just like, forget it. I don't care.
Very true. Yeah, Lena's trying to figure out what's making Sam sick.
Yeah. That reminds me. I really don't like this visual effect for the curtain.
The force field thingamajig.
Oh, I was fine with it before, because up until this point, I didn't realize humans can just see through it. I thought
weird.
It blocked everyone. I thought it just blocked everything out, because that's the effect that we see.
See, I was fine with I'm fine with the effect on its own, but I have to admit the realization that Sam could see through it because she's just human right now was kind of weird.
And then they play with it later, with when the Kryptonian woman's there, and the agent comes in and they have to distract her, and he can see them.
Yeah, and Ruby like makes a noise to help him, and
yeah. I'm like, this is weird. Why is this effect? In theory, then this should just be a clear effect. Like there shouldn't be anything, just a shimmer, maybe.
Yeah, maybe have like the waves of it, but without the solid blue, so we can still see through it.
Yeah, because I thought that no one could see through this, and that was the point. But no, it's only Kryptonians that can't.
Yeah, that's just murky storytelling more than anything else.
It is, but it really confused me in this episode.
Sam is kind of at the table when they're making plans, and she agrees to go back into the other realm.
Dark something?
The dark place, I don't know. Whatever it's called. And she's going to try and, regain power. Take power away from Rain.
Because there's a fountain.
There's a fountain.
there's a fountain now? I guess? I don't know.
Yeah,
this is so messy.
This is just bollocks exposition. This is Scott Snyder exposition right here.
This got really messy at the end of the season with Rain, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm making that joke, but how you're feeling right now is how I feel sometimes with Scott Snyder's writing, when it'll just start writing, and then in the center of the universe there's a fountain where it does this.
So here's the thing: I don't mind this at the start of the story. If you set up, this is just what the story is.
Oh sure,
that's fine. It's when this is, we've had a long time dealing with Rain and setting this up, and then, oh yeah, there's this. This is just what it is now. I'm like, what? Right at the end? It just feels easy and cheap when you do it at the end.
Yeah. I'll tell you a small moment I liked. I like Selena and Co. just turning around to the the devout guy and be like, "Yeah, you're a puny human. We're not going to let you be a part of our world."
Yeah.
Blast.
Yeah.
So,
He's done with.
I like he's dead. He was still breathing. That might just be a mistake, admittedly, but it looked like he was still breathing to me.
Okay, maybe. I assumed he was supposed to be dead, given that they blasted him pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I feel like when they heat vision someone to death, they should burst into flames. Well, not spontaneously, but make them set in fire.
I get that. I'm always under the impression that the heat vision, it just kind of pierces through them, and
Okay.
all right, that hits your heart. All right, you're good. You're done for.
Oh, so it's like sticking a vampire.
I should not have gone with that analogy.
Like the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That heat vision would have been useful.
Oh, I brought that on myself, didn't I?
In many ways, Kryptonians are the anti-vampire. The sunlight powers them.
Yes. Speaking of, sunlight does not power rain because they
Not at all.
try.
Not at all. They give it a go, but it doesn't work.
No.
It work. The fountain, however, that's what powers rain.
I don't know what this fountain bollocks is.
Do you know what? I mean, I said last week I was hoping the finale would just be like a good action episode, and I'm still hopeful that that's, I'll just ignore the plot now and just have fun with the blasties. Because that was the thing. This episode, I wasn't really feeling it until Alex started jumping around and being a badass. Even, the agent, him being a bit of a badass and a hero, I was like, yeah, I'm into this. When doing these things.
Yeah.
That's where I was into it a bit more.
Yeah, I know. I agree. And then, obviously, no Jean to help out because he's busy.
He's busy with Marin, and
James is just nowhere to be seen till the end when a wild James appears and he's like, "Oh yeah, hey, win, pep talk."
Yeah, I don't really have a problem with that.
I don't know. I thought it was just really weird how, I guess I'll show up at the end.
I mean, that's just kind of fine if you've got big cast. Sometimes they'll miss an episode. I mean, it's funny with James because it happens to him so often, but it wouldn't bother me with anyone else. Like if Lena was gone most of the episode but just came in at the end of the episode for something,
I think it's when I'm like, a bit of extra, combat prowess might have helped.
Yeah, Colin Guardian. Yeah,
that's my thing. It's like, okay, we've got Kryptonians on the loose. Let's call in everyone.
Colin Superman, perhaps. Now, I know it's like the obvious complaint to make, but I feel like when they're showing the world, the entire planet is starting to fall apart. That is when Superman can't ignore it, right?
And let's just even if I can just ignore the Superman thing, I'm like, whatever, Warner politics.
Don't get me wrong. Not even just one line of dialogue. He's off planet, right? Fine.
Yeah.
Done. Easy.
Like I said, this is I have a bigger problem with them not calling Jimmy in to come and help out with Kryptonians because Alex is going toe to toe with them.
Yeah, they've really done a good job making Alice feel more like a badass this year. They've always told us she's a badass, but I feel like this season is really actually, no, she is a badass.
Yeah, definitely.
She's doing inhuman leaps across buildings and flips, and she's taking on Kryptonians. She's got her fancy gun with a magnet.
Yeah, no, that stuff's cool.
That's cool. I mean, I think they wanted us to think she was badass when she was like evil in season 1. She had the kryptonite like armor that she was fighting Kara with.
It was alright. She had a moment here or there, but never consistently.
Yeah, but she's been badass this season. And then she's going to be teaching Ruby because Ruby's already picked up the minigun. She tried to pick up the minigun. more
pretty
actually.
Heavy.
Yeah, pretty heavy. But of course, when Sam heroically sacrifices herself and Alex takes her in, Ruby will also become a badass. She'll be taught the ways.
Yeah. Badass in training.
Yes, of the Alex.
Yeah, of course.
The Alexinator.
Doesn't really roll off the tongue, does it?
No, it doesn't. Ironically, Saminator works much better than Alexinator, but whatever.
Yeah,
we'll go with it. Yeah. Oh, Ruby. See, when she becomes like a badass, she needs a sidekick called Sapphire.
That's just the name of the gun.
That's the name of her gun, Sapphire.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I can get on board with that. I can get on board with that. So overall, I thought the episode was okay. Honestly, all the mother stuff feels kind of inconsequential right now, especially since I'm pretty sure she's probably going to die at the end of the next episode.
Yeah.
Not
entirely sure why, other than okay, we can't be bothered dealing with this in the future.
I don't know. Something about it feels weird. I feel like her meeting Alex and having the little speech of, "Oh, you helped take care of my daughter," and Like, I feel like this is a goodbye. Like, this is
Yeah.
going to end with sacrifice. And they got Erica Duran. So not that she's like, you know, a big actress, it'll be hard to get, but I feel like it's a big enough name that they got her because they wanted to do something specific this season, and then, you know, no more.
No, I agree. But it just seems weird to just throw it in at the end of the season like this and it not be set up for next year.
Yeah. Also, it's kind of weird. They never showed her being like, "Hey, I've got powers now," because they did that with the villains, where they all like, "Oh, heat vision. Oh, we're powerful. Oh, this is nice." You know, Allura's just kind of like normal, and it's
Take it in a stride. She doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't know. It's bizarre. It's funny how inconsequential Supergirl and Mon-El actually were this episode. It was mostly everyone else, which is fine. I think it's fine to focus on everyone else.
No, it is fine. It's just such a weirdly structured episode.
Yeah, it's an odd episode. I mean, it's a better episode than last week, I think, by a fair stretch.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It may not have been had it kept its pace. You know, the first half's kind of like lax kind of tone.
Probably would have been down there. Yeah.
Yeah. But it picked up enough that I was having fun. That overall I can't complain too much. But
yeah, I'm not really excited going into the last episode anymore.
Nor me. I'm kind of. I want more of the badass stuff that Alex kind of had, like that, but shared amongst the characters. And if I get that, I'll be kind of entertained. And
yeah. I'm down for that stuff. But you know, the plot itself, I'm kind of over now because they just kind of threw too much stuff in at the end of the season.
The waterfall. Oh, the fountain. Sorry,
the fountain. Yeah,
the fountain. The mystical fountain with the power of rain, because it fountains. It's rain.
How dare you forget that thing that was only brought up this episode for the first time?
Or the fact that the witches have like a ritual that births a new rain.
I mean, at least I can go with that because I mean they had to do it in the first place to create rain once,
sure.
right?
But it's worth noting now we have a Sam and a Rain that are they're connected because it's making Sam weak, but there's two separate entities now.
Yes. Yeah.
So.
And that's how they win. You know, they're connected, and it's not a case of, you know, make Sam strong and then Rain will go weak.
Kill her.
It's no, kill her and the connection.
Which they won't do. It'll be Sam herself who'll kill herself to do it.
Yeah. It'll be like realizing the connection will damage them both.
Very similar to how a certain season of the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer
ends.
Yes,
I know. I was just waiting, but I can't help it. They're giving it to you.
Just wait, there's an actor in one of the other shows that's in that episode of Buffy.
Of course there bloody is.
Possibly two, actually. So, it's all Buffy references today, left and right. They're coming thick and fast. Keep up with them, folks. But there you go, that's Supergirl. So, you know, it was... You know,
it was an episode.
It was a fairly standard. Actually, no. I'm going to say it's a fairly substandard episode.
Yeah.
I feel like the standard is a bit better than this, so I don't want to quite say that.
I think the back half of the episode is above the standard.
Okay.
But because of the first half being, you know, really not that good at all, it drags the episode overall down.
It does. And I had tech issues watching this. I had to pause like 3 times because of stupid systems going down. Wasn't happy.
That never helps your enjoyment, does it?
It doesn't, no. The third time it happened 20 seconds after I hit play again. Not amused. Anyway, so, yeah. Well, we will move on then to Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. Season 1, Episode 11, it is called Honeymoon in Metropolis. I actually knew what this episode was as soon as I read the title, and I remembered it. So the plot of this one is that Lois is taking a weekend at the honeymoon suite at this Lexar Hotel, presumably owned by Lex Luthor, given the title. And she's claiming everyone doesn't believe her. They don't believe that she can relax. Like, oh, you're there spying on something. You're doing something uptown.
Got a lead, yeah.
But she actually is genuinely trying to relax. However, news just follows her around because she actually starts to notice something suspicious across the street in one of the windows. There's like a senator and a congressman, and there's shady dealings going on. And there's a funny sequence of her, like, you know, trying to talk to Clark, who's on the phone, who's like, I don't believe that you can relax. And she's in the jacuzzi and she's like dropping the phone in, and it's all happening.
Yeah.
So it sets up this plot where once they realise what's going on, Clark and Lois are told to both go to the honeymoon suite under the cover of being an actual couple, and to spy for like 3 days, like 3 days surveillance, spying on this office where these meetings keep taking place. And the whole plot, it's revolving around Lex has this project Shockwave that's, you know, a big military contract. This guy wants to sabotage it so that they can do their own and get the money.
Yeah.
themselves.
Lex is not the villain here.
He's not, no. So much so that Clark even calls him for help when he gets worried about Lois at one point. Which hurts him dearly.
This is a legitimate military contract. He's doing, you know, a good thing.
Seemingly, yeah. I'll give credit when everything goes down at the end, when we actually get our actual superheroics. Obviously, they're hiding a lot around it because it's, you know, 1994's like effects, but I'll give them credit. The tidal wave effect when Superman, you know, he does the spiral into the wave. I was like, that looks okay for this time period. This looks good.
Yeah, perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, I was into it. I feel like it was maybe something they couldn't pull off properly, but they shot for the moon, and I kind of appreciate the ambition. Yeah. But what this episode actually is, so that's the plot of the episode, and it's fine. Look, it works. The actual episode, though, is Lois and Clark having to live together for 3 days, and it is absolute gold every single second of it.
Yep. Yes, it is.
I love this episode. You know, I can barely remember like names of the important characters in the plot, or like, you know, you're lucky I remember Shockwave at all, to be honest. Like, you know, it's, you know, at one point Lois sneaks over and Superman has to go in and kind of save her because she's about to get caught. But other than that, it's no. How do they share the sink when they try to brush their teeth? How do they split up sleeping arrangements? It's all the jokes that the what do we call him? The bag boy. Porter, thank you. That's the word I was looking for. All his like little jokes where he's like making jokes, especially when he comes in the next day and he sees the pillow's been torn apart because Superman, you know, exploded it. And he's like, "Oh, you had a hell of a night." Kat has been here enough to know where all the buttons are.
She's carved her name into the table.
Yes, it's a home away from home for her. Everything about this was delightful. It was just this was like the romantic comedy stuff just working at its fullest.
Yeah. Do you know one of the small things I noticed that is interesting? You know, Lois, to all her protests, she goes into the bedroom. She's like, "Right, wake me when they come in and wake me when they're out there." And she goes in, and she doesn't wear a pajama top. She's not, you know, she's clearly wearing nothing because she covers up when Clark comes in.
Yes.
And then at the very end of the episode, when she's on her own in the suite, she is wearing a shirt.
Ah, she was being sly. She wanted to be caught.
Yeah, definitely.
She wanted a moment. Well, that's the other sweet thing is that when they're going to sleep that first night, he has to shout through the door like 4 times, like, "Good night, Lois. Good night. Good night, Lois." And eventually she says good night. And at the end of the episode, when they're on the phone and they're about to go to bed, you know, in separate places, she's like, "Good night, Clark." And she says it like 4 times because he just smiles, he just soaks it in because she actually wants that. As much as a lot of the episode is about how much they hate having to share and how they're not used to it, clearly they got a taste, just a little bit of a taste for it, just a little bit.
Yeah. Also, in extra uses of Clark being a lazy bastard and using his powers, when he falls off the sofa and he just floats back, just stand up. It's not that much extra effort.
Yes.
Lois is right there. She could walk out any second.
He's also sleeping with his glasses off, might we add. Which, I mean, admittedly, most people do.
Most people sleep with their glasses off. That would be weird if he didn't.
But just in the context of, I'm Superman, maybe I should just keep them on for safety.
I think I'd be more suspicious if he left them on. He's still got. He hasn't got his hair slicked back. He's fine.
All right. Okay. All right.
He can't slick his hair back around though.
Because it's not like he's got super senses in his sleep, right? When he's asleep, he's still asleep. So Lois could conceivably go, "I want a snack in the middle of the night," so she'll just tiptoe up. And she sees...
No, I'm with you, but wouldn't you be like, "Why is he wearing his glasses? That's weird."
That's better than, "Oh, he's Superman. I see his face."
Yeah, but you know, one thing leads to another. Why is he wearing his glasses?
It's still more steps than there was there before.
I mean...
It's easy. You just say, "Oh, I was watching TV, I fell asleep before I took them off." Done it many a time.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. Clearly I'm one who has experience in the glasses department.
Yeah.
Hell, once I even forgot to take them off before I went for a shower. That was a weird experience.
Did they not just fog up immediately?
Yeah, well, I was just I'm just in the shower, I'm starting to like, just do the armpits and stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute,
I can't see.
my glasses are on. This isn't right. This isn't normal. I don't usually do that.
Christ.
So, yeah, there's not a whole lot to actually talk about. It's really a delightful little episode where it's all of their odd couple antics, and like there's a little bickering, the fighting, all the jokes. Jimmy's making jokes, Perry's making jokes.
You got Perry's contacts.
Yes, sore throat.
Mr. Throat.
Yes, who when they go to see in Deep Throat style, and in the parking lot in shadows, he's actually got a sore throat. He's constantly, he's got the handkerchief, and he's constantly, dealing with his mouth and nose. And basically Lois isn't satisfied, and then he's like, "What were you expecting? Follow the money? What a crock! I never understood that anyway."
Oh, this is great.
This was a kind of really weird, like, little dig at all the president's men for whatever reason.
Yeah. I don't know what I did notice on that note, follow on from last week. Massive recycling sign at the start in the office on Lois's desk.
Ah, there you go. Yeah, just keep that going. Yeah,
yeah.
We recycle in Metropolis.
Yeah. They're really promoting it.
Yes, no, I concur. But no, this is a super cozy episode. As soon as I read the title, I knew what one it was, because I was, it's just the one where they have to stay in the hotel together. But these are the sort of fun episodes that I really like at TV shows, where it throws characters together. Like, I feel like anything with a will they won't they component of any kind will typically do this at some point, where they'll have to live together, before they become a couple, and it'll be like this trying time of.
I think that even better and well as in shows of this time period. Today these can often just feel like a detour in the more serialized nature that we're generally used to.
Oh sure,
whereas in where it was very much episode, case of the week. They feel a lot more. They don't stand out for being odd. In terms of the structure, it's like, oh, that's what we're doing this week.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I see it a lot in sitcoms, which still works quite a bit. I wouldn't mind them doing it on a serialized show. It just depends on the context. I mean, it's not like I expect it on something like Better Call Saul. Which, I mean, actually, no, that one could pull it off. Better Call Saul is exactly the sort of show that could do that. But
it could, yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, I'm not watching Mr. Robot expecting them to. Oh, let's have the cozy episode where Elliot and Angela have to stay together for a day.
Right, exactly. But even on like the CW shows now, like they're far more serialized than the shows were in the 90s. So even now, it might feel like a strange detour.
I got oddly nostalgic at one point in this, actually. Lex, when he was complaining that he called in by Clark, he mentioned that he wanted to stay home and watch Flipper reruns on late night cable. And that made me oddly nostalgic because... Not for Flipper, I don't give a shit about Flipper. Which, by the way, Lex Luthor watches Flipper. Just let that sink in. I don't even... Like, Flipper was a dolphin thing, I think. I didn't see Flipper. I vaguely remember it existing. I was like 4 at the time. What do you want from me? Anyway. The point I was getting at is just... This was a period when cable was like a really big deal. When, like now we have the internet, we have streaming services, you can watch things when you want.
Watch whatever you want, whenever you want.
Yeah. I do have a nostalgia. I don't want to go back to it because things are much better now, but I do have a nostalgia in my youth, before say up to my preteens, right? Up until that sort of age, where I was excited to have, like, I remember when we switched to digital and there was way more channels all of a sudden. Instead of having a few movie channels, you had, a dozen movie channels, and I was like, oh, movie channels. Now I don't give a shit about channels. Linear channels, what is this, the Dark Ages? But I do have a fondness for the time period, and especially the way they would, like I feel like, advertising changed so much. Like, I was doing Nightmare on Elm Street 4 for streams, right? I was watching that just earlier today. And that was 88, but there was like an advert on it on TV at one point in the movie for MTV, and it was this really bombastic, and it was this ridiculous over-the-top thing, and then the MTV logo came out, and I'm like, I miss these weird adverts where you couldn't tell what it was for until at the end. It was just like, yeah, this is just the attitude of MTV. Like,
yeah, I don't think those adverts have gone away, because I don't watch a lot of TV, but when I do, you'll get all the time, it'll be like this weird advert, it'll be something going on, and then at the end, a car will drive out. I'll go, wait, that was a car advert?
I think they're too slick now. I feel like there's a nostalgia for the time when they were a bit more innocent and just kind of weird. And it's like it's like all of a sudden, because it was more than just network TV, they got really creative. It's like, oh, we can get away with so much shit now.
Yeah, okay.
It was a weird exploration sort of time to it. Not that I associate Flipper with that specifically, but
late night cable.
Late night cable. I remember staying up watching a lot of late night cable. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
in my childhood.
I remember the days.
Wasn't watching Flipper though. I'll tell you that.
Just hope not.
No, but hey, so that's basically Lois and Clark. That was it. You know, the surveillance. There's a lot of little romantic little moments. The one that was generally quite sweet is when they get up the morning after, like the first night, and they have like just a genuine moment where he's like staring at her. And she's like, "What?" It's like, "No, you look not too bad." First thing in the morning, and she kind of has this genuine kind of smile. Like, "Oh, yeah, you too."
She was just checking him out doing the push-ups.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
He definitely is like I know we've seen him do push-ups in the mornings before, but this was definitely like, Lois is going to walk in on me. I'm going to be doing the push-ups.
I'm going to time this. I'm going to time this just right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely what it was.
I can see that. But no, that's Lois Clark. It's a really simple episode. The plot is fun, and of course the chemistry between the leads, which we've talked a lot about that in the pilot because that was when it was first really relevant. But I think this is where an episode really shines with that, because that is what anchors the whole thing, is them having tremendous chemistry.
Yeah, if these two don't play off each other well, this just falls completely flat. It just doesn't work as an episode.
But because it does work, it is one of my favourite episodes so far.
I agree with that.
It's Connor's fault. That's an inside joke. Because he just told me right before we started recording, you're going to say it's my fault. It is Connor's fault. What is Connor's fault, you might ask? This is weird. This is the middle of the show. Why am I talking like this? Well, because it's a day later. That's why. Because sometimes with this show, we have some natural breaking points between the episodes that we're talking about, and we were running a little bit late last night, and we had to go watch Westworld. So we said, okay, we'll come back and finish the last couple of things, Smallville and Young Justice afterwards, and Connor fell asleep. So now it's Monday, and I feel the need to mention this for two reasons. One, our clothes have changed, so if you're watching the video version, it's quite obvious. And secondly, obviously in the first part of this show, we were talking about Supergirl. We kept saying, oh, the finale's airing next week, which admittedly it was still the next night because we record on a Sunday and then Supergirl airs on a Monday. But now, because we're not recording the rest of this until Monday, by the time this goes up, the Supergirl finale will have aired, which is kind of weird. Bear with us. That'll be on the regular episode again, late Sunday, early Monday, as per usual. End of the
usual
week.
Slot.
Yes. This one's just a tad late. It's just awkward because the one new thing we're reviewing is on the very next day. So if we're slightly late, we're kind of overlapping into the next week of content. It's bizarre. But regardless, here we are. So yeah, this is actually the middle of the show. We're on to Smallville. Season 1, episode 10.
Great thing to come back to, right?
I know.
This is probably why I fell asleep. I just thought, oh, goody Smallville.
But this great episode, what are you mad? This is season 1, episode 10. It's called Shimmer, and there's the family, the mum who helps clean the Lex Manor, the mansion. Like,
she's the maid.
She's the maid, yes. But she's got a little cottage next to the main house. Yeah. And she lives in there with her teenage children, who of course go to school with Clark and Co, even though we've never seen them. The daughter was on the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She was in Conversations with Dead People, a season 7 episode.
Fair enough.
I forgot to mention during Lois and Clark, I'm pretty sure the corrupt guy that we're spying on, I think he was the swim team coach from Go Fish, the season 2 episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So,
fair enough.
Some Buffy faces.
This girl here, I recognise her voice. I think she's done a fair bit of voice work.
She probably has, because I recognise her face. I actually didn't quite call it was Buffy immediately.
To go hunting.
I went hunting because I recognised her, and I think I might have seen her in a couple of things, but that was the one that was like, oh yeah, I know exactly who that is now that you're telling me it's Buffy. But yeah, so she was actually in this before Buffy, which is usually when I'm saying, oh, this person was in Buffy. It's usually, that was years ago they were in Buffy, but this was like a year before that Buffy episode, so there you go. She was making the rounds. So she has a crush on Lex, and she's jealous of British lady who's living with Lex right now, whose father's also rich, and he's trying to use her to take over Luthor Corp in the show.
Yes, rival company.
And Lionel shows up and says, she's playing you, Lex. She's dangling boobs out in front of you, so you'll make mistakes. And then Clark notices her spooky, spying around, and is like, she's spying on you. I said, oh, I know. We're playing chess, Clark. This is the game.
Sure, this is the bit that I really laughed. Because Clark goes, you don't love her. You don't trust her. Why are you keeping her around? And Lex is clearly like, for the sex, obviously. That's in his head. He's like, what? Are you this naive?
She's very attractive, Clark. Come on. There's one reason. She might be trying to backstab me, but she's very willing in lots of other ways, so I'm going with it.
Exactly.
I almost like when Clark sort of like keeps going and Lex kind of says, you know what, Clark, you have like impenetrable morals. Never lose that, because Clark's really like, oh well, you don't love her, so there's no point. Like he's very, Lex appreciates how pure he is. He wouldn't just do this for the sex. He appreciates that, so that's kind of nice. But yeah, so either the girl or her brother. Because it's quite clear at the start of the episode it's one of them, right? And then after about 5 minutes, as well, it has to be the brother because he has nothing to do except turn out to be the one who's actually invisible, right? So there's an invisible kid tormenting Lex, or more specifically Lex's girlfriend, and just the high school bully at the start, and just whatever. Interestingly, there was a high school invisible kid episode in Buffy as well.
Of course there was.
Much better than this one, may I add.
I mean, probably, yeah. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I'm willing to just agree. Because, this one's pretty shit.
I mean, the invisible stuff's kind of whatever. It's just kind of awkward. The girl's got a crush, and I don't really care about the corporate espionage side of things, or any of that bollocks. The other plot, though... Other than Clark...
I will say I did appreciate Lex being like, come on, she's too young for me. Even Lex has a line.
Until season 6.
I mean, sure.
Okay, don't get me wrong. By season 6, Lana's not a high school girl anymore. But still, like...
Yeah, it's not super creepy at that point, but...
I think it's a little bit creepier because he's known her since she's like... she's maybe like 15 here, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
But it's a bit creepier, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's not that... But, it's
oh, yeah. She's... But season 6, she's what? She's like 20. So, I mean, whatever. Yeah.
20-something, yeah.
Yeah. But still, I'm just saying. But yeah, so... Oh, yeah, we got an awkward, like... Clark was going to wing it. Fly by the seat of his pants, and then Pete's all, you're not the flying type, Clark. I'm like, bash my head against the wall. Make it stop.
I mean, it's not inaccurate on this show.
Don't defend it with that.
I'm not. I'm just saying, I don't think they realised that how much they were predicting the truth of it.
So, honestly... I mean, it may actually be 50-50, but I feel like the Invisible Girl plot, or the Invisible Boy plot, because the girl's jealous and he's taking care of her.
Is actually the subplot.
It's actually just, at the very least, it's 50-50, when it should be, that's the main plot and it gets more.
Should be like 80-20.
The Clark-Lana plot gets a lot of time here. And she's done a blood drive. And it does raise the interesting question where she expects Clark to be a good guy and donate some blood, and he has a legitimate reason not to. And what I thought was funny is he has to sort of dangle his way out of it, and he offers to help in other ways, and he brings the problem to his parents. Oh, Lana will hate me if I don't donate blood, but what am I supposed to say? And they came up with a fairly plausible, just say you're afraid of needles, and that's why you won't do it.
Yeah, no, what I liked is the wording was, say you've got a problem with needles. That's technically true.
That is technically true. And all I could think was, like... Because he's like, oh, that makes me sound like a wuss. I'm like, well, yeah, okay, fine, but just say there's a medical reason you can't. Like, just say you've got something in your blood that's, you're not allowed to.
He doesn't want to put her off.
True, yeah.
Scared that she might catch something.
Just something mundane. Like, just something, like his iron is not very good, so he's not allowed to give blood.
Yeah.
There you go. Right, easy. Right.
Yeah. Good solve the problem. I'm
just saying, they could have played it smarter, is all I'm saying. But the main thing, though, is he's getting close to Lana, to the point where he's like, hey, Lana, have you ever seen the sunset from a barn? And she's like, yeah, we live next door, Clark, I see it all the time. And he's like,
He's like, oh, shit. She sees it, he's like, I can go watch another one, though.
Joe's funny. At this point, it's so clearly the blossoming of a romance, but they're pretending it's not. And even at one point, Chloe's even like, "Hey, Clark, once you cross that line, there's no going back. Don't, tread carefully."
I'm sorry. That point, there was a point in that conversation there that might be the stupidest thing that's ever been said on this show.
Oh God.
So Chloe's like, "Oh, you invited her over to yours," and he's like, "Well, yeah." And she's like, "Oh, that's romantic." I'm like, "No, it's not. It's a farm. He invited her over to a barn." That is not romantic. It's not like candlelit dinner. He's literally gone, "Hey, come over to my barn.
Come and see my telescope."
Right? Like, what? In what world is this romantic? All of a sudden, like what?
I mean, on the one hand, I'll defend it and say it's actually more accurate than most teen TV shows, because to a teenager, because this is the thing, teen romance usually in TV shows, they all act like they're 35. They have a roaring fireplace. They have a bottle of wine. They they've got petals out over the place. It's like no, middle-aged people do this, not teenagers. So at the very least, this is actually more accurate, because to a teenager, this is as romantic as it's going to get, because teenagers are stupid.
But if she said, "Oh, if he'd gone, oh, I'm taking her out for dinner," right?
Sure.
That's more romantic than come to this working farm. It's not like it's not like a little countryside cottage. It's an actual farm. That's not romantic, at no level. Also, you can see it from your own house. It's not like it's a romantic getaway. It's like, "Oh yeah, I'll just go over there." Christ, this really annoyed me. Clearly.
At least it's a crop farm and not like a cow farm, because otherwise it would smell really bad and it'd be even less romantic.
I mean, yeah, they must have cows, right? Because they've talked about milking the cows before.
I've never seen any cows.
All right, but I'm sure they've talked about milking cows before.
They're always talking about crops.
They are, yeah, but I could have sworn they've talked about milking cows at some point.
Maybe they used to have cows, but there's been no cows spotted.
No, maybe they're in one of the other barns.
Where are all these barns that I'm not seeing, Connor? I only see one barn.
Somewhere, round the back.
Jesus. Anyway, so Whitney's been really standoffish. She doesn't want to talk to Lana. She's mad at him, and Clark swoops in, right? No pun intended. He swoops in, but then when he sees Whitney looking kind of upset in school one day, he notices there's medication in his bag, and he uses a bit of the X-ray vision to spot exactly what it is, and it's heart medication. So he has to be the good guy and talk to. He doesn't want to swoop in and steal her just because Whitney's going through a bad time. So he goes and talks to him. Turns out his dad's got heart trouble, and Clark, instead of just enjoying the sunset with Lana, is like, you should probably go and talk to Whitney. He really needs you right now. Blah 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 blah. And I mean, I don't fault them saying Clark's a good guy here and doing this. That's fine. Yeah, he's Clark. Boy Scout.
Yeah, the problem is if he did take advantage of the situation, you'd probably call him out and be like, "It's a bit low for Clark, isn't it?"
It is. The problem is I have to sit through all of it.
Now that is a real problem.
With the awful chemistry and acting of these two people.
Oh no, we missed the sunset. You still stood right next to the window. One of you was looking out at it.
The one tomorrow. And obviously it's a metaphor, Connor. They missed their moment. That's what it meant.
I know, but it's bullshit.
That's what it meant. Oh, dear. I mean, honestly, the resolution in the episode to the invisible stuff is basically just Clark bumps him into some paint.
Yeah. He does smack him with that mace, though, which I'm pretty sure is in the opening credits for the rest of the show.
There you go.
Get used to that moment.
Yeah, that's pretty much the episode. I don't really have much else to add. When we end that episode, Whitney and Lana are making up on the porch of her house, and of course Clark's spying again through the telescope. He's having a watch.
Yeah,
looking all miserable about it, as you do.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
I don't know. It's not the worst episode of the show, I guess, but I mean there was no kryptonite offensiveness. So
just he got a bit weak when he went in, with the guy covered in the plant invisible shite.
Yeah, it had no effect when Chloe had it on her fingers earlier on.
Yeah, it was a bit. He did stumble at one point, right? I'm not misremembering this. I feel like when he went into the mansion for the first time. At the end there.
Hmm.
And he kind of stumbled a bit, but then obviously took a mace to the face, no problem.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because earlier on, and by the way, I loved that it was a green liquid that made him invisible, because when Chloe puts it on her fingers, I'm just sitting thinking, they're literally just green screening the green liquid, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it kind of tracks because it's supposed to be, infused with kryptonite, right?
Oh, sure, no, it makes sense, if that's why
it is convenient.
But there was several scenes earlier on when Chloe's waving it about in her fingers, and he's just kind of like,
Yeah, no,
whatever.
I'm with you. I mean, there's not very much of it, though, admittedly. On her fingers.
That's never mattered before.
It hasn't. It's kind of just... It's not that offensive, but it's just a chore to get through this episode, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a troubling watch. The bully was bad. The brother was particularly bad as an actor, I felt. It was very, very cliched, very whiny. No, not.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing to really compliment in the episode, really.
There's really not. It's a very bland episode.
Yes. And unfortunately, as much as the show loves to focus on it, when they do focus on Clark and Lana and the will they won't they stuff, it is tedious as shit, because it's written with no subtlety, no nuance. It's just like it's so blatantly the start of a romance, but the characters pretend that it's not. That it's insulting.
It is. This goes on for a long time, doesn't it?
I think so. Did they even get together in season 2? I can't remember.
No, I don't think so. Because I know how season 1 ends with the hurricane.
Tornado.
Fine, whatever.
There's a difference.
Sure, fine. I don't give a shit. They're both windy.
Both windy.
Do you know what the worst part is? I was just a minute ago checking, was that a mace or a flail?
Oh, don't get me started on that. The whole Mace, Flail, and Morningstar debate boggles my mind.
Well, it's... A flail has a chain. This didn't have a chain, did it?
But this is the thing. I've seen ones with a chain referred to as a mace.
Well, that's wrong. If it's got a chain, it's a flail.
I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, they're all three variations of the same thing with just minor differences.
I am inclined to agree. That's how I feel about tornadoes and hurricanes.
They're very... Tornadoes, circular. Right?
Still windy shits.
Well, let's do a bit of a mercy killing now and move on to the last show of the week, shall we? Young Justice, Season 2, Episode 2. It is called Earthlings. And we ended the last episode with the RAN crew, we'll call them. Superboy, Miss Martian, and Beast Boy, along with Adam Strange, arriving on RAN. And this episode is them on RAN. That is the entire focus of the episode, is them investigating the alien invasion. And we have some fun with they can't speak to each other. Like Adam knows like a few introductory words in their language, but Miss Martian has to like translate. So she links
them up and translate.
Telepathically, so they can all communicate. And of course, Alana and Adam are like, oh, we can talk now. We can tell each other how giddy we are, and them getting all...
Isn't this nice?
Yeah, it is nice. And them getting all smushy, like, making Superboy and Miss Martian be all, oh, this is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable. Which honestly, was the highlight of the episode for me, was actually the personal stuff, when she started digging into it, and we find out that Superboy is the one who ended the relationship. But I don't know why yet. Not quite got to that yet, but they're sort of slowly teasing it out.
Mm.
And Beast Boy's, meeting new alien creatures and shifting into them.
Yes.
And whatnot. But they do a bit of recon. They get disguise themselves, go on a train. And then there's a big assault on a base of the aliens. In fact, a couple of them get captured, and there's shenanigans and excitement and explosions and things.
There is, and it links up with what happened in the first episode when all the Krillitanes appear back on here, because that's when they ran away. Yeah,
because they've got their own Zeta beam technology. So basically, they destroy all their beam technology, which they stole. It's worth mentioning, they stole from RAN, and they destroy most of this, so they can't just beam back and forth. Assumingly, if assumingly is even a goddamn word, assuming that that will at least delay the invasion a little bit. It'll slow them down a touch, one would imagine. So, and at the end of the episode, they're on their way back to Earth, and it's like, okay, we need to go back. But and again, like they are all like they're like, oh, you're not associated with these six, are you? Referring to the Justice League members who
like, we're not leaguers.
Yeah, referring to the six who were here on their lost 16 hours, and whatever they did that. Like got this
pretty bad, whatever it was. Clearly,
it is. Like, what did they do? Kick a puppy down a chute or something? I don't know.
I don't think that's enough to warrant. Nope, none of you coming here ever again.
And a big public display, maybe throwing a puppy onto a spike bed and then Superman heat visioned them or something. I don't know.
I mean, maybe, but that only takes 2, not 6.
I wonder if it links into the invasion, specifically.
Yeah.
Does it actually relate to that, or is it something separate that will be used in another way throughout the season? I'm not actually sure. For me, the actual the plot and action of the episode was pretty straightforward. It was just okay, right? So you're stopping them. We're seeing a bit more action with them. Beast Boy's got some fun stuff where he turns into a big ape and he's like bashing things around and whatnot. But for me,
I did like how Superboy's like, oh, you might make me finally, like apes.
Yeah, that was a good touch. But for me, it was mostly the character drama. It was the feeling of awkwardness between Superboy and Miss Martian, and then because I feel like obviously we had these characters in the last episode, but not for super long. I feel like Miss Martian especially, I feel like got a lot of good time here, where we got to see like just how she was coping with all this stuff, and we don't really know like how she ended up with Lagan specifically, because he's not in this episode, but just how things are and how kind of mature both her and Connor are, and how have become.
And he had his own, heart to heart, opening up about how he doesn't actually age physically, even though internally he's aging.
Yeah, so he'll still live to an average human age, whatever it may be.
Give or take, yeah. But he'll always look like a teenager.
Which is awkward. It's awkward when you're 40 and you just want to go see that R-rated movie, and they're just not letting you into it.
Yeah.
Okay, whip out the ID.
Shame, innit?
I'm sure Miss Martian can just.
But that said, his ideal says about 6.
Well, yes.
Yeah. So
But so and also speaking of heart to heart, so it was a really nice one with Beast Boy and Miss Martian, because I'd kind of briefly forgotten. Yeah, also right, we introduced him in last season with the mother, the one who inspired Miss Martian's whole persona, and that's why he's like, because they kept calling her sister and brother and sister in this episode. I'm like, wait, what's going on here? What's happening? I'm like, oh, that's why she kind of adopted him after something happened to, and it was Queen Bee that killed his mother. Okay, right, this is interesting. We're building some of this backstory to the character. I'm liking it. I'm getting into it. So yeah, it was good.
No, it's good stuff. I liked Adam doing the beware the Jabberwock. Just reciting the whole poem as he runs away.
Yeah, no, that was good. Him and Alan have got good chemistry already. Even it wasn't a super amount of it. But already Alana feels like it's fun to me that we're only a couple episodes out of season 2, and we're having Ran, we're having Adam and Alana Strange, we're having all these characters.
It's really widened out, hasn't it?
We're getting some really deep dives into some of the DCU, which is pretty cool. So
yeah, one of my favorite moments on that sort of stuff was with Alana's dad, and Adam goes, "Oh yeah. By the way, the Croatians, they've stolen all your stuff. That's how they're doing it." And he's like, "Yeah, I know. I told you that last time you were here." And he's like, "Oh, Crawler tape. Yeah, I thought you just meant thief. I thought that was your word for thief. I didn't realize that was a thing." And they're like, yeah, okay, cool. We got it. This is way easier."
Yeah, that was good. And I liked actually when Miss Martian gets captured, the link breaks and they can't speak to each other anymore, so they know something's happened to her. They know something's wrong.
Back to charades.
Back to charades. So it was not a solid episode. It feels even more serialized than the first season, given how we followed these characters here, we ignored the rest, and presumably, I mean, these characters might arrive at the start of the next episode, but they might not arrive till the end of the episode. We might spend the episode with other characters.
Yeah, it definitely feels, at least at the start, it feels like a 2 or 3 part opening to the season, right?
Okay, sure.
I can't remember if it continues this serialized, but at least right now it feels like we'll jump back and it's kind of like one big hour opening sort of thing.
Oh, that's cool. But that is Young Justice. Now, typically at this point of the show, we'd pick our favourite episode of the week. But that's out of the new shows. But unfortunately, all we have is Supergirl right now, so there's not really much to pick from.
Yeah.
And obviously, Lois and Clark beat Smallville. I mean, that goes without saying.
Yeah, obviously.
So
to be honest, Lois and Clark probably wins this week in general.
It probably does. I feel weird comparing Young Justice to live action shows though, because I feel like it's such a different ball game.
No, it is. But there are weeks where I'd say that was my favorite thing I watched.
Well, there probably is for me too, but I still feel weird, like because it's doing so much. It can play with the entire DCU and do all these wacky great things, and the other shows can't really do that.
Alternatively, it's only got 20 minutes to do its thing, whereas the others have got twice that. So, there's pros and cons.
It's just difficult to compare. It's the same way that I would, if I was listing my favourite TV shows, I'd never mix the sitcoms with the hour-longs.
Oh, no, I'm with you.
I just never would. And I'd never mix an animated show like this with the dramas. It's just a silly mixing them. But hey, but yeah, so we're wrapping up the show. If just in case you skip past the timestamp, we recorded the second half of this the following day. Supergirl's finale is actually just finished airing, I think, at the time of recording. So it's already aired by the time this goes up. It's just because we get delayed recording the second half of this. Regular episode next week will be, back to normal at the end of the week with the finale of Supergirl. So I know it's a little bit strange that we just heard our thoughts on that, and we kept saying, "Oh, the finale's next week." It's already kind of happened. But here we are. But yeah, so that's television for the multiverse. That's this week's show. We'll be back next week, like we say, with Supergirl finale, and we'll have obviously another Lois and Clark, another Smallville, and a Young Justice, and then we'll go week after that. We'll be fully on the off-season content, meaning it's all classic shows. So yeah, we'll see you for that. Let us know what you thought of the episodes this week, specifically Supergirl, and like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates, or at DC Comics Podcast for DC stuff specifically. Get us on patreon.com/mailfuzztv if you want to support the channel. Even $1 a month is a huge help, a huge support. But even if you can't do that, all the other stuff, liking, subscribing, sharing the video, all that kind of stuff, all of it does help. But that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching superhero TV shows, and always remember that sometimes we screw things up for the better.